New revelations about the Varginha case after the intro? Hello everyone, I'm Edison Boventura. Welcome to our channel. And today I bring you an exclusive interview. An interview that was conducted by one of our collaborators there in Varginha. But before I bring this to you, I wanted to know if you are subscribed or not. If you're not subscribed to our channel, go over there, subscribe now, and click the like button. If you like this video, do the usual, and if you really like it, go ahead and leave your comments. After you watch this whole testimony, it's important that you also share this video. What just happened now? In January, on January 24th and 25th, 2026, I was in Varginha to take part in the 30th anniversary celebrations of the case. It was a wonderful event. A lot of people were there, witnesses from that time, researchers, politicians, in short, many people honoring this event. The press was also there in full force, and we did some interviews that we published in 3 parts here on our channel, so the testimony is there. What do people think after 30 years? If you haven't seen those videos yet, go check them out. After you watch this one, of course, then go and watch those other videos from the event, which are really cool. So, what happened next? We met an advisor from the Varginha City Council there, Sulan Bittencourt, and she introduced us. Some politicians, some people who had already had some connection with the Varginha case or had a story to tell. On the 25th, she said she might be at the event. Lorival, who is the general director of the Varginha City Council, was supposed to be there, but due to other commitments, he ended up not showing up. So what did she agree with us? She told us, I'll try to talk to him. I'll try to record a video with his statement, and then I'll send it to you so you can publish it on your channel. And then what happened? She just recently sent me this video where Lorival Donizete de Oliveira, this director, talks about his involvement with the Varginha case and mentions some aspects of the zoo. When Mrs. Terezinha Galo Kleps saw that creature, and he even mentions the name of a doctor who might have been involved with that creature during the autopsy, something like that. So, this is brand new information, brand new and exclusive for you. I'm sure you're going to like this testimony. So, once again, we thank Sulan Bittencourt for kindly making this available. We also thank Lorival, and without further ado, let's watch this interesting testimony.
My name is Lorival. Today, I am the General Director of the City Council of Varginha. On the day of the supposed appearance of the extraterrestrial, there at the zoo, this was on April 21st, and Mrs. Terezinha was present and was celebrating my birthday. It was a surprise birthday party. I was serving as Secretary of Sports and Tourism, and I was also acting as the director of the zoo. So, there at the zoo, there's a place called Paikere Restaurant. I was first over at CBC celebrating the birthday of one of our soccer teams, and when I was called to an extraordinary meeting which the Mayor Louise at that time needed to have with the Secretariat. When I arrived at the zoo, it was a surprise party where Mrs. Terezinha, who is involved in the supposed sighting, was present along with her husband, Marcos Klep. At the time, he was my tourism advisor, Mayor Luizio and other people, even my ex-wife, Domingos Tavares, and a number of City Hall employees and department heads. And at that moment, Paikere still had a porch where there was an ox cart, which was the decoration of the restaurant. Mrs. Terezinha, since she was a smoker, left our table to smoke on that porch, and suddenly she froze and went into shock. She came back to the table and told Mr. Marcos, her husband, that she saw a creature and that the creature was staring at her. And she was like that, completely distraught, even asking him to take her home. Up to that point, everything was fine. We even thought it could be some monkey, some animal from the zoo that had gotten out of its cage and was there. But our surprise came the next day. The next day, when I arrived at the office, I got a call from the biologist Leila Cabral telling me that something had happened at the zoo during the night and that an animal had shown up there, completely healthy, dead, and it was a tapir. It's not a very sensitive animal. And from then on, all the explanations started, all the talk about the appearance of the extraterrestrial which had shown up to the girls, as everyone knows, in January. So this appearance at the zoo happened in April during the celebration of my birthday. Look, I don't know if they looked for the mayor. I only know that actually later on a team came. Sete Planetas even held an event there at the Acoustic Shell. I was invited to go, but at the time I didn't want to participate in the event at the Acoustic Shell. But the mayor, Aloisio Ribeiro de Almeida, did participate back then. If you look it up on social media, it should be recorded there. YouTube, Google, you'll find something. But I know that the current mayor, Leonardo, was the manager. Brasilia Bakery, which was owned by the then mayor, Aloisio, who, by the way, is the father-in-law of the current mayor, and Leonardo. At that time, he routinely delivered bread to the regional hospital, and on one of those deliveries, he was forbidden to enter through the main entrance, where he always delivered the bread. For the snacks of the hospital staff and collaborators, because the main entrance of the hospital was completely blocked by ESA trucks, police officers, firefighters, and so on. He didn't know why. He was then directed to a side entrance of the hospital next to the maternity ward where he made the delivery. So maybe that's the reason they were involved with that creature. An interesting fact that makes us believe even more that some creature appeared in Varginha. It was in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. We were on a fishing trip in Mato Grosso and stopped to do the famous tucunare fishing there on the Great Paraná River. And while some fishermen stayed there, we stayed on a little beach by the river, drinking beer, and people were singing. There was a singer, even a professional from the city, from Tres Pontas, who was playing. We were there in the water and all. Suddenly a group of doctors arrived with their families, children, wives, and they stopped the boat like this, far from us. And suddenly someone came toward us through the water and said, "Hey, I heard someone mention Varginha. Is there anyone from Varginha here?" So I identified myself and said, "Look, several of us here are from Varginha." Then he approached us asking about Dr. Jose da Frota, who was a coroner from Varginha and was president of the city council, and asking about Dr. Armando Fortunato. What about him? I answered. I said that unfortunately Dr. Jose da Frota had left us, he had passed away, and that Dr. Armando was still here, fully active. From Varginha, also a coroner, my college classmate, my colleague in politics, and he was also part of our fishing group. Unfortunately, that year he couldn't make it. The person identified me, it was Dr. Newton. He identified that at the time of the extraterrestrial sighting, he was working in Varginha. That was his background, but I know he was a coroner. And he identified himself as Dr. Newton, and that he was working in Varginha at the time of the extraterrestrial sighting, and that he assisted in the autopsy of the creature. We discussed various things, then he left, and that was it. Dr. Newton today, if I'm not mistaken, is very good friends with Dr. Armando Fortunato, and he lives in Belo Horizonte. It's important to point out that there is a gap in the news about the extraterrestrial. Why the girls? Supposedly in January, where I even mentioned the issue of the regional hospital of the current mayor, who was the manager of the Janeiro Bakery, and the issue of Mrs. Teresina. It was on my birthday, on April 21st. Even going back there to the appearance of Gennaro, what happens? We learned that there, near Flora, on the side of the highway that connects Varginha and Tres Corações, Varginha and Ferno Dias, actually, today, right in front, there's the way station on the highway. There's a small farm and a little ranch there. And we learned that in the early morning of January, a craft landed there. It really scared the cattle, and the person, if I'm not mistaken, at the time even gave an interview to the television. And it seems to me, I don't remember very well, that this craft, when it took off, let's say, left some residue, some piece, some metallic material from the craft was left there on the farm, which must have been collected by some authority or some researcher. We don't know if it really was a creature, but there are all the signs because of the animal's death. There at the Bagunça Zoo, which was there at the zoo. Among the other animals, I don't know if there were any more losses, but the one I know about was the tapir, so I believe we didn't have any other knowledge. Afterwards, whether it really was a creature and whether it was captured or not. So I would even like to thank Edison Boaventura for the opportunity to talk about the appearance of the Varginha ET and to praise his research work, and to say that we are available for whatever is needed to clarify any doubts people may have. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Paso.